You are listening to the FORSCOM Frontline, bringing you to our soldiers on the front lines of readiness. Hey everyone, welcome to the FORSCOM Frontline. I'm Ashley and I'm your host. Joining me today is our FORSCOM social media manager, Adam Luther. Adam is here to talk about the not so glamorous side to social media these days, scams and imposters. Adam's been with the FORSCOM Public Affairs Office for about 2 years and has spent a lot of time working in social media management. So thanks for joining me, Adam.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
This might be a real doozy today because I started my day by burning my eggs.
Oh, uh-oh.
And then I had a little PTSD moment where I thought the fire department was going to come again, and my house smelled like burnt eggs, and I was trying to blow the smoke out so that the fire department didn't come and the smoke alarm didn't go off and the kids didn't wake up. It's been a morning.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. So
did you post all that?
I didn't.
See,
I didn't want
opportunity.
I didn't want some
opportunity.
Scammer to think that I had a fire and needed restoration, because that's what happened last time.
Right. Gotcha.
So we are talking about social media scams and imposters and all the things that make social media not so great. To start, what do we really know about social media, though? And, I always tell you that I'm a Facebook OG because I got it back in, 2004, 2005,
sure.
In college when Facebook first came out. And all you could do was, post your status, and it has evolved significantly since then. So what do we know about social media?
Yeah, absolutely. It's changed a lot. And your story there, you were one of the people that were in the computer lab when I was trying to write something for a class that was on Facebook.
You know what, though? My roommate told me, she came home and she's like, "You got to get on this Facebook thing." I'm like, "What are you talking about, Facebook? This sounds so silly." And then I still have it.
Yeah.
15 years later.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's changed a lot. It's grown a lot, and I think people don't quite understand the actual size of what social media is to the world. So it's estimated 4.8 billion people, billion with a B, use social media worldwide. So we got 8 billion people in the whole world. 59% of them are on some form of social media. All right. And
that's only the real people.
Well, there's probably some fake people in there too, but.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A lot of those are probably duplicates.
Oh, of course. Yeah. And we'll get into that. And I want to talk some about that as well, too, But, so drilling down into those numbers a little bit more, if we look at just adults, 77% of all adults in the world are on social media. The number's huge. But, social media allows us to stay connected, reconnect with people, share with, our families.
Post photos of our dogs.
Of your dogs, of the eggs that burned this morning.
Yes, all
of that stuff. But you know what? It's also opened up an avenue for scammers and thieves to get into our lives.
So, are those all of our stats?
Oh,
Did you have more?
I do. I'm big on stats today. I'm just telling you, I'm warning you and your listeners. I got a bunch of stats.
Oh, wonderful.
So, and actually, I thought this one was really interesting. We're talking only Facebook. Every single month, 3 billion people use Facebook.
Wow.
Every single month. Another one, a good one, Twitter. 238 million people are on Twitter every single day.
Wow.
Every day. Just the scope and the size of social media is huge.
I could never get into Twitter. I felt like I never had anything important enough to put on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's great for news for me, I think.
Right.
I get a lot of news from Twitter.
And that's where I find myself going. If something's happening, I will go to Twitter to see what I can find. But I say I never had anything important to say, but half of the people on Twitter actually don't have anything important to say either.
It's probably less than half.
Yeah.
Yeah. So... So that opens us up to scams. Cyber criminals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought you were going to give me another stat. I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
So let's start with imposters first. So for our purposes, we deal mainly with people impersonating our senior leaders.
Yeah.
So how do we identify imposters on social media? What is an imposter? Let's talk about all of that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And imposters are tough, right? They're tough to identify for one, and they're tough to get rid of too. So we're already starting at kind of a disadvantage, And so basically what these people do is they will steal the photos, and the information from soldiers, from our senior leaders that we have in the Army here, and then they'll make up a story that helps go along with that. So a lot of times, like their spouse, their wife died, and I'm looking for love, and
in all the wrong places,
all of the wrong places, But it's important, though, I think, to point out that they get most of this information from our own profiles, right? Like, we are willingly giving this information out. So if you think about your own profile, right, you probably have listed like where you live, where you're from, where you went to high school. I see a lot of women like include their maiden names in with, so people can help find them.
I feel like Facebook did that for me automatically.
Do you really?
Yeah, because I know I did not put the parentheses.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I can get rid of it.
So I seem to remember like that being a security question, like what's your mother's maiden name, right?
You're not wrong.
You just got a quick little search, So something to think about. And like I said, this is stuff for information we're giving these scammers, these cyber criminals willingly. Another stat for you, ma'am.
Oh boy.
All right. But this is a big one, and with Facebook specifically, right? In the third quarter of 2022, so just last year. 3-month period, Facebook took action on 1.5 billion fake accounts.
Oh my gosh.
That's one platform, 3 months.
So I'm going to ask you if you, and I think you know this number off the top of your head, average in a month, how many imposters are you finding for General Pappas, for example?
Oh, yeah. General Pappas, I'd say every week, I find at least 100.
Oh my gosh.
Every single week. And so I report those every week. And Facebook, Meta, their parent company, is pretty good about taking action.
Yeah.
But the very next week, there's 100 more. Wow. Yeah, it's crazy.
So how do we know that this account is an imposter and this isn't the real general?
Sure. Yeah, and it's like I said, it's tough, but there are definitely things you can look for. Like the first thing I always look for is the account verified, and that's usually a check mark that's by their name. Typically it's blue, but there's some changes going on platforms. But if there's a check mark up there, that's a really good indication that it's a real account. So a lot of things that people do for General Pappas is a slight misspelling. Like in his last name, instead of Poppas, it'll be one P in the middle.
Okay.
Or they'll switch them around. So looking for like misspellings, because a U.S. Army general is not going to misspell his name and then continue using that account.
Right.
Outdated pictures. We get a lot that are like of a lower rank of General Pappas, or they're really fuzzy and digital, like they've been copied a whole bunch of times. Again, a general officer in the Army is going to have a nice clear photo. It's going to be a current photo. Then their messages. Sometimes the way it's written, the grammar will be poor, or it'll sound like spam.
Yeah.
Maybe promoting a company, which is not something that would typically be done. And then they'll have very few followers. You can look and see they'll be following maybe 100 accounts, but there'll be like 2 people following them.
And then there's typically only a few posts too.
Sometimes it'll just be a few posts, like if it's one I deleted and got deleted and restarted. But sometimes people put in a lot of effort into these things, and there'll be a lot of posts and comments, and it's
really,
it really just depends on how much effort they want to put in. But
so you sent me a screenshot, and it was from a fake account, and it was like some flowery graphic with a quote on it or something.
Sure.
I feel like that's a pretty easy identifiable thing to say, yeah, this is probably not something that an Army officer would be posting.
Absolutely. And that's a very good point. If it's something that just seems out of character, out of context for this person, and what you'd expect, I guess, like you said, like flowers and birds and stuff like that, probably not.
Well, and guilty pleasure here, there's a show on MTV that I have watched quite frequently about people getting duped on the internet in romance.
Yeah.
And one of the key things you always see is do your research. I mean, if you have a general who is messaging you and saying all of these things, I think it's very easy to take 5 minutes to like Google the organization that they work for, look for current pictures, you can probably even find that they are still married and not widowed. There's a lot of things that you can find by just a quick Google search to realize that this is not the right person.
100% right. Yeah, if we just take a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Just like you said, just a quick Google search.
Right.
You can usually figure out if this is real or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Any more stats?
No stats for this one, but I do want to point out, though, if you're being messaged by one of these accounts, or you come across one, all the platforms you can report it right there. So report it and block it. That's the best advice I can give to people on that.
All right. And so when you report it, is there any information that you have to provide, or do you just report the...
It depends on the platform, honestly,
Okay.
but it's very basic stuff. You know
Okay.
what I mean? And they'll give you the option to select, is this, why you're reporting it, so you can put it's an impersonation. And
Okay.
It's a step-by-step process.
Okay.
So it's pretty easy.
All right. And so the other not so glamorous side would be scams. And we hear about them all of the time. I mean, they're everywhere. Our phones, our text messages, our emails, and of course, social media. I mean, I think I get probably 15 spam calls a day on my phone. It's ridiculous. And I've even gotten emails that look legit. Like, it is my credit card company. But thankfully, instead of clicking the link, I went to my app for my credit card and realized that I wasn't suspended or there was nothing wrong. So let's talk about social media. What are the top social media scams that are out there?
So one that we see a lot is the romance scam, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we kind of touched on
Yeah.
some of it a few minutes ago, with the impersonation accounts. And again, they stole a profile, they stole the pictures, stole this person's backstory, and then throw in, I'm a widow or whatever it is, but it's all fake. And the thing is, once they get you in these conversations, typically fairly quickly, they'll want to move from the social media platform to like WhatsApp or to text messaging, something like that. So they'll quickly get you away from where you were, like on the platform that you were on.
So have you had any experiences or have heard anything where a general fake account has led to, I don't know, this outside communication off of the platform? Or is it just people are creating these profiles just to put pictures and post stuff? Or are they actually trying to...
They're trying to
people.
actively scam, So in the past, so there was a phone call from a sheriff's department in Texas, right?
Oh.
And they called because there was a lady who had met a general online, who was a fake account, and they were engaged, and she was in the process of selling her house so she could go live with him, but it was an absolute fake. It was total scam, and the sheriff's department was having problems convincing her of this.
Yeah.
And that's why they reached out to us, because he was supposedly a Fort Bragg general, and so I think we talked her out of it. But I mean, these scammers can be really good, and people will go to like great lengths to, sell your house and send the money to them and go be with them. Yeah, it's really sad.
It is really sad. But again, what we talked about before, just do some research. And I guess hindsight it's easy to say.
It is.
And because we work in this environment, maybe we are a little bit more, aware of all of it. But I mean,
when they start, I think a big sign is if they start asking for money, and beyond money, like when they want the money in a form of a gift card or something, and you send them the gift card number, and so those are all red flags. People aren't going to ask for a specific gift card. You know what I mean? So what they do, they get the number, they clean out the card account, and then you're left. You paid for it.
Yeah. Gift card, like a Visa gift card?
Yeah, any of them pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So what else?
So, let's talk a little bit more about soldier impersonation, right? So we talked about that in the romance sense, but so there's also folks will say they're a soldier that's deployed and they need money to get home.
This is my favorite.
Right. And you know what? But it seems like, you would think that people wouldn't, like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I've had folks send me links. So what the scammers did, they created a link. So if I'm the soldier, right, and I have emergency leave, I need to come home, you go to this link, you pay $1,500 so I can get a week of emergency leave, or $2,000 for 2 weeks. So they had a price, and they had a link where you could enter your credit card number and everything. And it looked, if you didn't know what you're looking for, the website looked pretty real.
Wow.
The main thing I saw, it was supposed to be an Army website and had pictures of Marines and sailors on it.
Oh.
But if you weren't,
If you weren't
didn't
affiliated,
know,
yeah.
Yeah, because, some of the scams get very elaborate.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, though, that it doesn't have to look messy.
Right.
These people
Right.
want your money, and they put in the effort to make
Absolutely.
these websites, make these links look legit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I was talking about the credit card one, everything looked like it was my credit card down to the website. I mean, everything. I looked and looked and looked, and thank goodness I got back from Germany. When we first got back to the States from Germany, first turned on our cell phones again, hadn't been in the States for 3 years, so we weren't getting spam calls. So phones are on, and I get this call about my social security number. I'm like, what?
Oh.
And it was my first encounter with it because we had been out of the States. And I clicked the number and to talk to somebody. And he didn't speak English, and he started asking more questions. And I'm like, I feel like you should have this information. And finally, he hung up because I started asking too many questions.
Wow.
Thank God I
good
didn't give him more information, but it's everywhere.
Absolutely is. Absolutely is. One more scam I'd like to touch on is these. So it's account takeover, right? And so the idea is, me as the scammer, I get access to your social media account, and then basically that account I turn into use for advertising for fake investments or fake opportunities, and then I spam all of your friends.
Oh.
And try to get access to their accounts, and so it just grows. So this happened to my personal Instagram account. Someone tried to do this, and the way they were posing it to me was, hey, I'm in this contest. Will you vote for me? And they said, Instagram will be texting you a link. But what they were really trying to do was probably like, I lost my password or lost my account information. And so if I would have clicked the link, it was acknowledging their request to reset my account information. And then they're in.
Wow.
And there's nothing you can do about it. So that's becoming really common also. And then that'll, like I said, there'll be investments or cryptocurrency or something that they're pushing monetary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to be careful.
So interesting. And it's just, we've said this before. Do you not have anything better to do? Like get a real job.
No,
right?
and you're right. But online's kind of different, because if a stranger walked up to you and started asking you for some of this information, you'd be like, I'm not telling you like
absolutely
my birth date or where I'm from.
My mom's maiden name.
But online, we just offer it. We give it up.
But I think that is the culture of social media in general.
I think you're right.
We are much more likely to say things behind a keyboard than we would in person.
Absolutely.
I mean, I had an incident, and I wanted to write something on our neighborhood page, and I was like, no, I'm not that person. I'm not going to do it. And I didn't do it.
Good for you.
But boy, did I want to.
Oh, I know. That's self-control.
And it can be so easy to just, I'm not seeing them face to face. I can post this, and it's whatever. But, I mean, I don't know. I guess I have a conscience.
Good for you. Good for you.
So, did we cover all of the popular scams?
Those are the big ones that we see a lot, especially related to the military.
Yeah. I think, and I know we talked about it, but the whole I'm a soldier, I'm deployed, and the Army left me here, or the military left me here. I just think, and I feel like that's a popular one. Like, I feel like we hear about that a lot.
It is.
And people are sending money, thousands of dollars to help these soldiers, but there is no scenario where the Army is going to deploy a soldier and leave them there 100%. To get home on their own. And I think that that deserves a foot stomp because
absolutely,
it's not going to happen. Yeah. So
yeah, there was a woman from the Philippines reached out to me. This was a couple of years ago because she was helping a U.S. soldier get home and gave him like $5,000. So she wasn't even an American citizen. She was a citizen of the Philippines, just trying to be nice, and it was a scammer. She just lost her money.
I also don't know where people find all this money to give to strangers because I don't have that extra money.
You know, I guess, you know, like that woman in particular, she was just trying to do the right thing and help somebody out. You know, that's generally what it was, and she just got taken advantage of.
I'm putting it out there. Hold on to your money. Go on vacation. Do not give it to a stranger.
Right.
Hold on to your money.
Yeah.
So what happened? What do I do if I do fall for a scam? If they're so good, they get me.
They get you. Yeah.
Is there
So the National Cybersecurity Communications and Integration Center is who you would need to. They have a website and they have a phone number.
Okay.
You contact them, and they're part of the FBI, actually.
Okay.
So that's who you would report to as a civilian.
Okay.
Right? And now if you're a military member or a family member, the local CID office on your installation.
Okay.
That would be where I start. Or if you don't have a CID office, the law enforcement center on your base, and then they can get the process moving.
And we'll put a link to that. I missed
to the National Cybersecurity Communications and Integration Center.
Because that's a big name.
It is a big name.
So we'll put a link to that in our show notes. But what if I'm just, I don't know, what if I have somebody who's posing as a general who is messaging me and, you know, I think I need to talk to somebody rather than just reporting it. Is there anything I should do, or should I just, do you recommend reporting it?
Well, reporting it, always report it, I would say. But we also have, when I say we as in FORSCOM, people will reach out, like send our page a message with a link to a fake account too. So that's always helpful. Yeah. You know, and then like in that case, then I add it to my list and I make sure that one gets reported. Yeah. But them reporting it is the first real big thing.
Okay. And I think it's important to note too, like we recognize that this is happening and we are trying to counter it as best we can, but there's one of you and there's apparently hundreds of General Pappas scammers and our other leaders as well.
Yeah, if you look up General McConville, the Army
I'm sure.
Chief of Staff, he's got so many.
I bet.
And it's the same way. They get taken down and new ones pop right back up.
Yeah. I know I did Imposters before you got here for a little bit, and I was just like, really? Like, every week it seemed like the same ones would come back up, and you're getting nowhere.
It feels like that sometimes. And, you know, and the platforms are working on it, you know, and some of our Army organizations are working with the platforms to try and come up with a solution. But it's social media is huge. Yeah. It's a big problem. Yeah. And that's just beyond the military.
Well, and that's what I was just thinking, too. I mean, we're really just talking about Army and military and not all of the CEOs that are out there and everybody else who I'm sure is being impersonated as well. I mean, I think my aunt's probably being impersonated.
She's part of the 1.5 billion fake accounts.
I think she's got like 5, whatever. So we know these people are out there. We know they're looking for victims. Yes. What are some things that we can do to protect ourselves while we're on social media?
Yeah, and I think a lot of these we've heard before, but it's true. Stronger passwords, of course, you know, and passwords get hard and you get so many. But
I hate hearing that.
You know, the problem is, though, I get access to one of your account and you use that password on everything, then
you figured me out.
I'm in, right? You know, so strong passwords. And even in two-factor authentication is being pushed more and more now, and that's great, too. You know, that's when you use your password, but you also get a text message saying this is me or however, or an email, however you have it set up.
It's just so hard. It becomes so hard to get into whatever you want to.
It is.
I feel like if I get locked out of like my Gmail for account, like I'm SOL. I feel like I will probably never get back into it. And everything has a password and everything has, it's just a lot to remember. So
And there's options for passwords like, Google. You have your Google account and it'll remember all your passwords.
Yeah.
I get access to your Google account. I got all your passwords too.
It's true.
So it's for our own safety. It is. It's hard. And also our privacy settings on our account, lock them down. That's what I always tell everyone. Lock them down. Make it so whatever you post, only people that are friends on your account can see it.
Yeah.
And with that too, like when you go on vacation, don't post from vacation because you're advertising you're not home.
I did that last week.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but I did notice. So
I don't think I said where I was, so
well,
I had that going for me.
There were manatees. There's not a lot of other options,
Yep.
But yeah, it's what you're doing is advertising that you're not home. So
you're right.
Wait till you get home.
So I'm 0 for 2 so far. So let's keep going.
So friend requests, right? Especially on Facebook, I get lots of friend requests from people. Some I know, some maybe friend of a friend. Be selective. Don't be selective. And
I do this.
I have friends that know every single person that's on their account, and that's great.
Yeah.
But
I feel like I get some even from high school people, and they'll know a few people that I went to high school with, and I'm like, I don't remember you. I'm not going to do this one. Or if there's somebody who has like 0 friends and they want to be my friend, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's a red flag right there. 0 friends on an account.
Yeah. All right. 1 for 3.
Okay, see? You're getting better?
I am.
We're working on it. This has been one for email, for everything. Be careful what you click on. Because that's even when you're on Facebook. Twitter, and you're seeing the different ads in that. It's just that doesn't mean that they're legitimate ads.
And I feel like it's gotten harder because people shorten the web address.
Yes.
And so typically if you see an address that has like, I don't know, CNN or Facebook.com, it's easy to think that is the real one.
Right.
But when they start putting
like Bitly and tiny URL and all those. Yeah, it gets confusing.
Right.
But you got to be careful.
Yeah.
And that's one that we've been talking about for a long time.
Yeah.
Is, be careful what you click on.
I already said that I did that one, so 2 for 2.
Nice. You're on the way up. That's
I am.
I can say. And if someone's harassing you, you think we mentioned before, if you think you're talking to a scammer, report them, block them.
Right.
Don't entertain that because they'll start asking personal questions and phishing.
Yep.
And I mean, those are the big ones.
Okay.
I think.
All right.
People.
I don't talk to random people, so.
And a lot of platforms will do good, like Instagram. If you're not a friend with the person, it goes into like your message requests, and then they filter them even more.
Too.
They do. So the platforms are trying to provide some sort of a boundary.
Yeah.
But it's up to us ultimately.
Absolutely. So we are running out of time. This went a lot quicker than I think you thought it would. So we've got that going for that.
I appreciate the time.
Is there anything before we go that you want to add about scams and imposters? And
we covered a lot, and there's a lot out there, and there's a lot more that we didn't cover, and ultimately it's just do a little bit of research, like you said.
Yeah.
And you got to be a skeptic. I hate to say it, but you do.
Absolutely.
And question the people that are messaging you, especially if you question who they are.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you don't know them.
I think that is super important, and I think I judge and am a skeptic of everybody. But we're going to be talking more about this on our social media platforms in the next month or so. So for more information, people can follow FORSCOM.
So we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Okay.
If you look up, we're at FORSCOM on Facebook and Twitter, and at U.S. Army FORSCOM on Instagram. Give us a follow.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you, Adam, for talking with me and doing this. And hopefully you won't be so scared next time.
Thanks. Appreciate it.